All right, so pretty much everyone has seen The Conjuring, right? It's an absolutely terrifying movie. But what if I told you the real story it's based on is, well, even more horrifying than what we saw on screen? Yeah, let's get into it. So let me ask you, do you really know the story behind the film? Because I'm going to tell you right now, the actual events are so much darker, and there is absolutely no Hollywood ending here. Okay, yeah, millions of us have seen the movie. It's a classic. But what most people don't know is the absolute nightmare the Perron family actually went through. We're going to peel back the layers of the Hollywood version and see what was really going on. So let's go back. It's 1970, and we meet the Perron family. They've just moved into what they think is their absolute dream home, a big old farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. You know, the perfect place to raise a family. But, as you can probably guess, the house had other ideas.
And this was a big family. You've got the parents, Carolyn and Roger, plus their count 'em, 5 daughters. So that's 7 people altogether. A house just packed with kids and life, which honestly makes everything that happened next so much worse. And get this place wasn't in some cozy little suburb. No, the farmhouse was sitting on 200 acres. Think about that. They were totally isolated, miles from anyone. It's literally the perfect setup for a horror movie. But for them, this was supposed to be their safe haven.
And if that wasn't enough, the house itself was ancient. We're talking built in 1736. I mean, do the math. That's way older than the United States as a country. Imagine all the history soaked into those walls, all the people who lived and, well, died there, each one leaving a little something behind.
At first, though, things were great. Life was pretty much perfect. The family was happy. Sure, they noticed some odd things, a spiritual presence, you could say. But it wasn't scary. It was almost playful. The sources say these spirits would just kind of watch the kids play. Nothing evil about it. Not at all.
But you knew it was coming, right? That peaceful vibe didn't last. Slowly, things started to shift. And that dream home, it was about to become a living nightmare.
And it wasn't a slow burn either. The activity just exploded. All of a sudden, there are weird noises coming from empty rooms in the middle of the night. Pictures are flying off the walls for no reason. Kids' beds are shaking by themselves. It became pretty clear, pretty fast, that they weren't alone. And it wasn't just one ghost. It felt like the house was crowded with them. But among all those spirits, there was one that was different. It wasn't playful. It was pure evil. And for whatever reason, it targeted the mom, Carolyn. It focused all of its hate right on her, whispering these horrible threats to her at night. Things like, "Get out, or I'll kill you." So, who was this evil presence? Well, after some digging, they got a name, Bathsheba. But who on earth was Bathsheba? And why was she so unbelievably angry? Her story, well, it explains a lot. Okay, so here's the rundown on Bathsheba's life, and it is bleak. She was born back in 1812 and ended up on that exact same property in 1844. She had 4 kids, but tragically, 3 of them died really young, and nobody could explain why. The local rumors started flying. People accused her of being a witch, of sacrificing her own kids to Satan. I mean, they supposedly found pins in their heads. The charges were eventually dropped because they couldn't prove it, but the damage was done. The accusation just broke her, and she ended up hanging herself right there on the property.
So as you can imagine, things are completely out of control. The attacks on Carolyn are getting more and more violent. The family is desperate. They had to do something. So they called in the biggest names in the paranormal world at the time, Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Now, Lorraine Warren was a famous clairvoyant, right? And the second she walked into that house, she knew. She just knew this was bad. Like really, really bad. She felt this overwhelming dark energy, and she confirmed what the family already feared. It was latched onto Carolyn.
Okay, and this is the exact moment where the real story just completely breaks away from the movie. So if you've only seen the film, you're going to want to pay attention because what really happened is probably not what you're expecting.
Right, so here's the big difference. In the movie, the Warrens pull off this big, dramatic exorcism, and yay, they save the day. The family is safe, the house is clean. That's Hollywood. Now, here's reality. The exorcism was a complete and utter disaster. It failed. Horribly. It didn't get rid of the spirits, it just made them furious. It got so bad, so violent, that Roger, the dad, literally had to physically throw the Warrens out of the house just to make it stop. Just let that sink in for a second. The one thing they thought would save them made everything 1,000 times worse. The Perron family was not saved. They were left behind, trapped in that house to deal with an even angrier haunting for another 7 years. Can you imagine? 7 more years of that terror, with absolutely no one to help.
After almost 10 years, a full decade of this, they just couldn't do it anymore. They finally scraped together enough money to get out. They abandoned the house and just fled. They moved all the way to Georgia, just trying to put as much distance as possible between them and that nightmare. But the thing about nightmares, sometimes they follow you.
Because it wasn't over. And this, to me, is the most terrifying part of this whole story. The haunting. It went with them for 10 more years. Even after they were out of that house, they were still being tormented. The sources say the paranormal activity only finally stopped after Carolyn Perron died.
And that's the real story. No happy ending, no triumphant victory over evil. Just failure. Years of suffering and a presence so powerful it couldn't be left behind in some old house. It's a scary thought, isn't it? That sometimes the story doesn't end just because you leave the theater. It makes you wonder, what do you do when the evil doesn't stay in the house, but decides to follow you home?